Hey everyone, we're here for another episode of Conversations in Newmarket with Neighbur.
Hey everybody, Bill here with Market Brewing, and yes, it's been some weird times, but at Market Brewing, whether you're coming in for a beer to go or to hang out in our tap room or on the patio, we've done everything we can to make sure it's comfortable for you with safety in mind. Hey, if you're into the beers, that's probably one of the reasons you're coming by. Our brewers have done an excellent job of keeping up with cool new weekly releases and an eclectic mix and nice variety of delicious fresh beers. We're also making sanitizer on site as well, which was commended by the Ontario government to help out our community and help other businesses get started and get back in action. On top of that, if you come on by, we always have some fun events to look forward to. On Tuesdays, we do trivia. Thursdays, bingo. Friday, our local music series with Snap. And on Saturday, we have live music during the afternoon as well. And we know not everybody is comfortable coming out to these public events when we're open. So on Sundays, we're dedicating them to smaller private reservations. You can book a birthday, retirement, wedding, shower, baby shower, you name it. Any of those important life events, you can do them in the Market Brewing tap room. And with that being said, you can always expect to find a cool food truck or chef there. Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, you can bring in your own food. You can come with your dog. The sky's the limit. Our priority, though, is safety for our guests. And then we're going to have some fun times ahead. We look forward to seeing you in the tap room.
That's great. We can't do these podcasts without our sponsors, and it's always good to have the community support when it comes to this kind of stuff. So on today's show, I've got Mack, who's remote, and I've got Tracy and Bill. So welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Bill, you've got like a sexy kind of podcast type voice, eh?
Yeah, you do
The
it.
broadcasting training comes in handy for these kind of things. Yeah.
That's right, Bill. So maybe we'll start with you because, we sort of quickly segued over to you. So why don't you tell us a bit about yourself and what are you up to? And
To make it short and sweet, I was a Toronto kid who got sick of the big city about 15 years before a pandemic made everybody sick of the city, and came up this way to Aurora, Newmarket kind of area. Loved it a little bit more peaceful, loved the community environment, everybody seeing familiar faces, that sort of thing. I was hooked immediately. Kind of was in a job at the time that I wasn't the biggest fan of. Came across Market Brewing down the street from where I lived. I liked Bear Hug. I really liked Bear Hug, so I came often and always and all the time with my friends. And then one day I said, hey, Pierce, are you guys looking to hire? So I started just doing events on the weekend. I just did a couple weekends, like a rib fest and a couple things like that. And then the ball just kept going, and I got to know Pierce and Josh even better. And now the three of us are kind of doing our thing there, and I love it. I love...
you guys have now taken ownership, or...
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
great. I know
So-
Tracy, because Tracy and I are friends too. I mean, we're all friends here. Mack, Tracy and I, we've been to Market Brewing for lots
Sure
of
have.
gigs. And
It's
so
a
you guys,
great place.
you're really smart. I use you guys as an example, like wearing my Snap hat when we talk to other microbreweries. I always use guys as an example of how, props to you, how smart you are around events.
Thanks.
Like, because I know the challenge being in a remote community, like not remote, but outside of the city is how do you get people in here on a Tuesday in November or,
Yeah, exactly.
Thursday night or Monday nights. And so having all those things like bingos and even historically pre-COVID goat yogas and all those things are.
We tried, I'd say we would try anything and everything almost before the pandemic and everything. Goat yoga, paint nights, floral arrangement nights, anything you can think of we would do. Obviously, you know about the music that would come through, and we're working with you guys right now with the local music series. So, I came from a bit of a broadcasting and event management background, and I said, okay, that's basically what you just said is what went into my brain.
Yeah.
Okay, how are we going to get people in Newmarket out on a Tuesday? So we do trivia on Tuesday. I kind of wanted to take over that and just get more interactive and more with our community involvement. And, that includes support for our Lao C chef and all our food vendors who come in, as well as giving away prizes for our comedy night. And always thinking, if we're winning, how can somebody else win? How
Yeah,
can I
that's
make a food
fantastic.
vendor win and the comedy night win? And actually, ironically, Tracy and I just reconnected. So Tracy came to our establishment on our first year for St. Patrick's Day. Let's just say it wasn't.
Was she
This was
banned?
before
Like,
my time.
You're talking the first year. Has she been banned
Before
or
you-
something?
No, no, no. No, not yet.
Me and my
We're
crew.
good. We're
Yeah.
good. No, and then, it was growing pains. Let's put it that way. I wasn't with the company yet, but I only heard the stories. So then Tracee connected with me, and then we had a much better second St. Patrick's Day.
Yes.
You know, we learned from our mistakes.
And every time since it has been.
But right away when I saw you, I'm like,
I think
what a combo to have today for the podcast.
That's even part of the spirit of the show is like learning from our mistakes and what ideas. We might even spitball a couple ideas for you later on in the show saying, what about doing this? Like,
I like
Tracy's good at that. Tracee, welcome to the show. How'd you end up are you from Newmarket or how'd you end up there?
I'm one of the few born and raised.
Wow.
York County Hospital. Yeah.
So like 29, 30 years kind of thing.
Thank you, Paul. Something like that. Yeah.
That's great. And what have you done? I know. Well, tell us what you've done.
Well, my family moved here from Toronto, and I was the first child to be born in Newmarket. The rest were city kids, and I've at 16 with my worldliness of nothingness, I thought this was the most boring town. So I was like, I'm so moving to New York. I'm out of Newmarket as soon as I turn 18, and my whole family has left except for me. There's nothing like the words of wisdom of a teenager. I had the opportunity to buy a business at 18. I did. It was Flair Modeling, Inc. And I had Flair for 27 years and absolutely fell in love as an adult with this community.
I think that's the first time I met you was actually through Snap,
yes,
the original Snap photographer or something like that.
I remember it well. It was like, wow, a new newspaper in town?
Yeah.
What's this?
That was it. Well, that's good. And why don't we get Mack into the conversation? Hey, Mack, how's it going there? Max?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you? So what's your story, Mack? I know you're leading up a bunch of things and around this building, our sister company Snapped, you're involved with that. But I don't want to talk too much.
I wanted to quickly say how funny it is to hear Tracee you say that, how you moved away from this town thinking it was boring and then you ended up back here. That's exactly what happened with me when I'm born and raised just down the street, Joseph Street in Newmarket.
Oh, that's right.
And then I'm 20 times from Newmarket, all around kind of the GTA really, and then ended up back here. But really how it all got started for me was I went off to university for 4 years, and then pretty much right out of the gate, I had a quick meeting with Paul, ended up getting hired at Snap, and ever since it's been great. We've been growing things like Buzz 505 and all these different initiatives. So to see it all kind of cultivate in a podcast where we can really energize the community into communicating with each other, especially during these times where socialization is so looked down upon. It's great to kind of reconnect with everybody.
Do you feel, Mack, or are you guys, any of you guys, don't you feel somehow the community's closer now? Like people are.
Yeah.
I know I sort of said this on another podcast. I used to be the guy that would get angry at Canadian Tire lining up. Or seriously, or Sobeys or No Frills. I picked the wrong line or whatever. But I think people are cooler now somehow. Like we're all kind of looking out for each other.
I agree. Yeah.
Like
I think
so hopefully that's something that goes past COVID and that we keep doing that. And I think that's part of the inspiration on the show too.
Yes. And I mean, being kind to your neighbor, it's such an old-fashioned concept, but it is life. And where you live is so crucial. Oh, I love this song.
Sorry.
It's a good one.
Tune. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, a little interlude from Bob Marley. Someone trying to call me. Just let
But
me.
that's a good sign. Bob Marley is just showing his love, so he has to be part of this podcast.
Right. So yeah, we don't need to cut stuff out. We don't cut stuff out of the podcast unless actually I answer that call and it's my bank manager. Then we answer and we say, yes, sir, or yes, ma'am. But I mean, I know things have been a challenge for a lot of us. And Mack alluded to it. How are things going at the brewery? Is it things are coming back to life? And
that's a good way of putting it. Things are slowly coming back to life. It's not going to be the normal we were used to before the pandemic, where we had 140 people and a great band and everyone's dancing and getting drinks, and it's just like one of those wild but fun nights. That was the one thing I loved about it. Is just it's always a fun time there. But we found ways right now to get things going. So right before we were allowed to have people back in for a patio or inside, we started making sanitizer, which was a big initiative to help out with the community. Yeah, and we donated 1,000 bottles to South Lake, and trying to help out with local businesses as much as we can to get their doors open, saying, hey, we did it the right way, we have it available. And then we also started doing door-to-door delivery of our beer locally. So not everybody's comfortable coming out yet. We understand that. People still like beer, especially when you're stuck at home.
Is that something you might
Alcohol consumption went up when we were all stuck at home for a bit.
Yeah. Guilty.
Guilty as well. Guilty as well.
Yeah. It got so crazy for me. I started doing TikToks every night because
your TikToks were very entertaining.
I was paranoid. I was paranoid about being in Toronto where I live. Not anymore, but at the time I lived in Toronto, and I said, I got to move into this office, and we have servers and things going on here. I don't know. Like, I think we were all in this kind of, not panic, but we don't know what the heck's about to hit us.
It was the unknown.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I'm going to move into Snap. I'll bring my dog, and I'll lock down and protect the fort, basically.
You got to bring the TikToks back.
Yeah, the
but
TikToks
they were inspired. They were definitely inspired by alcohol.
Yeah.
Because I just
don't say.
I found myself having a couple of drinks every night.
Yeah.
Then I found all the Halloween costumes that are here because we always have Halloween parties. And then I would it seemed like every night I would have like a FaceTime with somebody, and we're like, oh, let's have a cocktail together. That was sort of the thing. But then they'd hang up, and then we're like, well, maybe I'll have one more. And then it just became crazy. And people are like, what happened there? Why'd they stop? I'm like, I basically curbed my drinking.
Oh, there you go.
I thought, that's not a lie.
Well, we'd be at my house. It's like a Wednesday at 1:00. Like, okay, we, checked out on the garden. We grabbed the recycling bin from outside and brought it in. All right, that's a pretty full day. Should we crack the bottle of gin, go gin and soda at 1:00 on a Wednesday?
7 minutes later, into the gin.
Yeah. I'll tell you how dinner went usually. They weren't elaborate meals by 7:00 when the gin pops out at 1 on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
But you know what? Now that we've got a little bit of some normalcy back at the brewery, going back there, Paul, right now we brought our trivia back on Tuesday. Our bingo it's crazy on Thursday. People are leaving with a lot of money. And if you're not there, honestly, an hour before, we're basically packed because we're doing everything the right way. Everything's spaced out. We've measured it. We got it done. So we can't have 140 people anymore, but we could still do 65, 70 safely, still have fun. And then, of course, the local music series has been amazing on Fridays with you guys, with Manny, and I call him the bassist of Newmarket, as I mentioned before this recording, because he is so good. He can play with anybody and everybody.
He is really good.
And I love, they've come with Glenn Murray and Lou Moore, and one of my favorites is actually Jesse Carwit on the keys.
So I don't know if you know this, but Jesse works at Snap too. He produces music, and in fact, the intro to this podcast is written by Jesse, and I do another podcast called Fua, and he wrote the music for that. So that's part of one of the things that we're doing with our podcasts, like through Buzz 505, is even having the ability to produce some music for it. But interesting, both Jesse and Manny, this is kind of how I think as well. And it's a Newmarket. It's not just a Newmarket frame of mind, but it's kind of how I think what's coming out of COVID happens is I have a meeting tomorrow with Chorus Entertainment, so Q107 and The Edge, and the Alma Combo, and I'm bringing those guys with me because they're looking for even house bands and stuff. Those guys are fully capable of being the house band at the Alma Combo, and because Chorus, The Edge, and Q107 are planning some events, I know I've kind of alluded a little bit to you, Bill.
Yeah,
that. What we're doing around those music series, so I'm wearing my Snapped hat now, does become an opportunity to ignite. And Newmarket is, for the listeners out there, Newmarket is known amongst musicians for having a lot of good musicians around. So people like Mike Bowell, he's one. There's Juno winners and all sorts of people around town that you may or may not know. So what are you up to these days, Tracy? You were doing the flare modeling, and now what are you doing? I know you're active in a lot of charities and supporting a lot of things.
Yes, I certainly, after owning Flair, then I flew for 10 years with WestJet, and
I'm glad you added with WestJet, because Bill and I would be, what do you mean you flew for 10 years? We've got crazy Tracy on the show.
Well, I think you've seen her on a few of the gig and live nights, but I was not her when I was flying with WestJet.
Yeah, that's cool.
And so my heart goes out to my fellow people and what they're dealing with right now in this scenario. I am actually flying tomorrow, so I'm going to take them lots of goodies and treats and thank them for being frontline people.
Oh, where are you going?
I'm going to see my mother in Alberta. I
nice.
miss her
Oh,
very
very
much.
nice.
Oh,
And
that's nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
my mom's 85, and it's just been way too long. And
Yeah.
so, yes, I can't wait to see her. But my recent project in town has been welcoming a new family that just immigrated here from Nigeria. They what they went through to leave that country and come to our amazing, perfect, not only Canada, but they landed in Ontario and they found Newmarket. So they have just welcomed a brand new baby, and our community. I put one post on Facebook. It was very hard getting them an apartment, I must admit. But I put one post that they're starting from scratch, and in 1 week they have everything.
Yeah, I know
And
you
it-
came by here like a
Yes,
month
and we
ago.
took a chair.
Took a chair and a table or
Honestly, is
something.
that not this community in a nutshell?
Yeah.
It is.
And how quickly people come together to do good for each other here. That's what I love.
One
That's what just
post.
brought, like, I don't know, that I just loved when I first moved around here.
Mm-hmm.
You can feel it right away. And as soon
Yeah.
as I started at the brewery, little things like what you're saying, Tracy, it's amazing just for what everybody's doing around here.
I
for each
think the
other.
only thing
shocked.
missing in their life, having been here, is coming to bingo at
I
the
think
brewery.
so.
Yeah.
And because they can bring their newborn, it's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
And
Well, they-
Come with your
love-
dog
and
too if you got a dog. just
nothing
come on
like
down.
coming
It's a
from
good time.
Africa and learning bingo.
That's
Well,
right.
there you go.
I mean,
They
that's-
love music, so I
That's
think
a
I'll start them
tagline
with the music
in
night.
Bill's ads.
Everybody loves it.
Yeah.
Yes, no, they've fallen in love. They're just overwhelmed, and because they were looking in different areas, Richmond Hill, Aurora, and then they just kept saying, "But if you are what like people in this area are like, we just want Newmarket, we just want Newmarket," and luckily they found one.
But
A very lovely
imagine,
family.
imagine coming from a different country and meeting you and igniting all that. No, I mean that in a positive sense.
Yeah.
Like
Thank
I
you.
don't.
No, and I take that as a,
I mean,
a
I
very
would
nice
joke
compliment.
with you, but I don't mean that in a joking sense at all.
No, and there are other people that they've made friends with have said this is very unusual for anyone to get this type of. So it's just I have a very positive, wonderful group of friends and people want to help. And
Yeah,
all it takes is someone saying if you they don't want money, they don't want donations, they want to be proud immigrants and contribute to Canada financially.
Yeah.
But if you're recycling or using something, this family would love to have it.
So actually, it's a good segue over to people can get in contact with any one of the guests today because all the information will be available on the web about the guests and email. And actually, we'll even say, here's Bill's house and you go bring a lawn chair. And
I'm sure he always has
he's
beer.
got lots of beer. Just
My
pull
house
up
does. Yeah.
Just pull up a lawn chair and have beer in Bill's backyard because he's
want
the
his
beer guy
address.
around here.
I've become a bit more popular since I've started working at a brewery. I've been getting a few more invitations to events with the assumption that
Yeah.
I'd be showing up with maybe a 12 or 24 beers. Yeah.
Bring your
yeah.
own beer, and it's like in brackets, multiple cases.
Yeah, as many as you can.
Yeah.
Not sure if they even like me. I think it's just the fact that I
Here
can
comes
bring
the
beer.
beer.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Hey, Mac. So I feel bad because you're not in the room with us. Not that bad because I see you all the time. But what have you been up to, or what sort of inspiring things have you found like COVID has kind of got you going, or thinking maybe a bit differently? Like, because that story is truly inspirational, Tracy, on what you can do and those positive things you can do and how that can impact people's lives. Sometimes you might even look at that and say that junction right there fundamentally changed how they're going to live here in Canada.
Yeah. Oh, they're
or
proud
certainly in
already. They're going to
Newmarket.
be proud Canadians. for
Right?
sure.
Like it becomes this inspiring thing. So have you got anything that even scratches that surface, Mac? Like, I know you've been
Pressure.
fishing. I know you've been fishing.
Pressure at all.
I know you've been fishing a lot during COVID.
Good for you.
Yeah. I don't know about that heroic. It's been weird for me. It was a roller coaster, really. When we first started working from home, I had a food tray as my desk on my bed. So I don't know if I was helping people out then. Then I took up biking, trying to do the self-motivated fitness thing. That didn't work out too well either. But when we kind of reorganized as a company, it was nice to go through those. At the beginning, we did that gift card drive where we would really try to support the businesses that were struggling. Luckily, now we see places like Market Brewing that are really thriving in this time. But at the beginning, it was really hard to see a lot of our clients struggling. So during those times where we could help promote them and give them free ads and whatever they needed, it was really nice to see how much it impacted them and how much they appreciated it. And I think a lot of organizations are moving in that direction where let's help our neighbors, let's help everybody around us thrive so then we can be the neighborhood that we always wanted to be and were before the pandemic. So specifically me, not much, but as an organization and
Nah, but
community,
Mac, you did a lot. You did like, what about those videos? I thought they were pretty cool. You guys did an awesome job. Tell everyone about those.
Yeah, those. So we did all these videos to try and keep people active and engaged in really anything.
Keep them off the 1 p.m.
catch-
gin, basically.
Uh-oh.
He obviously wasn't following along at Snap Newmarket. So tell us
Certainly
about them.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah, the videos were pretty much just to keep people doing something because, like me, I was working and sleeping and eating in my bed. So anything we could get people out, we got 'em.
Anything you can get beside bed bugs, you're in for.
At
right?
least I checked my garden.
Yeah.
At least
Yeah.
I got
At
out of
least
bed and
once.
checked the garden once a day. Come on.
But to maybe give us a couple of samples or examples of what you were making. Sorry?
I said that the 10th video I did was how to give your partner a sponge bath to relieve bed sores.
There's a concept.
No, but you were doing things like how to cook omelets and all these kind of cool, like we were supposed to be, I think we produced something like 200 videos or
Wow.
150 videos, how to build a fort out of blankets. Like we were trying to keep families entertained.
Great
And we
idea.
publish a couple a day or something like that, Mac, or?
A couple a day. We had 3 of us, Sean, Elisa, and myself, doing these videos. And we enjoyed them. So hopefully the community did as well. It seemed that we did get a lot of positive feedback. So
Yeah, I
if
think
that helped, great.
I think we had thousands of people engaged, or I say we, it's like the Snap team. And yeah, lots of people engaged. And we kind of took it upon ourselves to be, as Snap, like really responsible for doing what we always do, which is shining like positive lights on whatever's happening, whether it's music at Market Brewing or, you know.
You've been amazing with Dragonfly,
Yeah.
the breast cancer weekend, and I can't think of an event you haven't supported. So thank you.
Yeah, I
to
mean,
you
even
and
on
Yeah.
the Snap
guys
thing,
are
like when you get in
fantastic.
across Canada, we've like typically pre-COVID, it was like 25,000 events a month.
Wow. Oh
Something
my
like that.
goodness. That's amazing.
Yeah,
So-
your involvement in the community has always been fantastic.
I mean,
the whole
that's-
team, you guys here.
No,
are
you
great.
I mean,
support
fundamentally, that's always been the logic. I mean, we're kind of the antithesis of conventional media. Like you look at CNN versus Fox. Like, not that I don't want this show to be negative, but would you want to be in America right now? Would you want to be in the middle of like people hate each other based on their politics?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yet, religion or politics, like I don't know. I like you guys. I don't care about any of that stuff.
I
Agreed.
don't either.
The
Care
world
about the
seems more
person.
divisive than ever.
Yeah.
But as you mentioned, in a smaller community, I feel like more tight knit than ever. Like people
Yeah.
are taking care of each other. But
Yeah.
in the grand scheme, where things do seem negative and you're either with me or against me kind of mentality right now, I feel like we've kind of kept our Canadian way of, you know, might not agree on everything if we do sit down for 2 hours with our gins and our bear hugs and get into the nitty gritty. But at the end of the day, we still respect each other and can get along. And I think that's an element that's lacking in the grand scheme.
And
of
some
things. So,
people's 2 hours or other people's 6 hours, Bill, just so you know.
yeah.
Hey, Mac, is there ideas that you've thought about or maybe seen around that you could think, oh, you know, it'd be cool for Market Brewing to have going on in a place? Like, is there ideas you have, Tracy, that you'd like to see potentially as the world opens up more, or, you know, ideas for Bill? Like, do you guys have any ideas?
Lay it on me.
Yeah. And he's probably going to say, thought about it, whatever. But
If I may add quickly, I think they got the creative thing down. They have goat yoga.
I know.
Uh-huh.
If they haven't,
And
I
it
don't know
sells
who
out.
has.
I think Snap does the ticketing for it. I
You
think
do.
it sells out in like 15 minutes. And
The
people get
record was
angry.
the record was I think it was 50 minutes,
Yeah.
40 tickets gone, and that's it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, just to do yoga with cute goats. Again, didn't think bingo was going to be
And
as
it's
big as
such
it
a
is.
But look at that.
Yeah, and goat yoga took off as well.
Sorry, Mac, what were you saying?
I just said it's such a unique space because without the kitchen being there, you guys have such an opportunity to bring goats into your venue, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
And you can bring your dog, and that's why too we like to support local food trucks and local chefs and caterers to come in. And I think that's again going back to that whole mentality of trying to make it a win-win for everybody. Yeah. Even like your videos there, it's just when we were stuck at home and in this lockdown, it was back to basics. So you guys doing videos like making omelet, there's that I saw people gardening and baking and going out for a walk.
How to make Swedish
sitting
meatballs
outside with their neighbors and things that I think we all remember. We slowed down a little bit. Everything was rush, and I got to do this, that. And I think what you guys did too with all your videos was awesome to kind of give ideas. Hey, we're all stuck at home. We can still have fun with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and we were also for Snap looking for content too. We were like, okay, now you're at home, so we want you to take a picture of you take the picture of you and your dog, or you building the tree fort or whatever it was. So we really wanted to stimulate the community. I don't want to say myopically, of course, to support the community, but we needed that content to keep publishing. And we needed to keep publishing because we use things like our augmented reality platform to shine a light on the things. So you can see if you go back and look at those editions, there was a lot of information around things like what's going on with governments. And I know with Christine Elliott's office, like what's happening with the Ministry of Health. And we went into it with thinking, we're going to have to really communicate even more than what we normally do around that kind of stuff, even though Snap has always been this just about entertainment. I'm going to come back in a second here. I got to take a little commercial break because once again, the sponsors are good. And the sponsors are great. Did I just say good? Sponsors are like the greatest thing that ever happened to anything in life, as said by a marketing guy. So I'm just going to take a break here and we'll be right back.
Hi there, Brad Jones here, or Sensei Brad Jones, as I'm known in the dojo. Great to be sponsoring this podcast. Our dojo has just reopened on Main Street after several months of being closed and running Zoom classes. All the protocols are in place. All the cleaning regime is working well, and members are coming back. And surprisingly, many new students have decided to start this month. So I'm looking forward to more and more coming in, and stay safe out there, everyone. Thanks.
Hey, it's Rob here at the Old Village Free House. It's great to be sponsored by this podcast. I just wanted to let you know that we do have a very large patio in the back. We have lunch and dinner specials every day, and we would love to see you while the weather's still nice on the patio.
So we're back, and I think, Tracy, I'm going to blame it on Bill or Mack, but I think...
You could blame it on me. That's
one
what
of
happens.
those two
That's
guys.
What usually happens.
I know it's me because I got a reputation for it, but I think we cut you off on what are you up to now?
Well, when you were saying things who's thinking of doing what in these times, and I've been very, very blessed through COVID that I have a girlfriend who has horses, and I've been horseback riding every week. And being in nature, being outside, not worrying about COVID, it has soothed my soul so much. It's been so good for me. And so then I look around and I think, you know what? I have a hammock in my backyard. I wonder if I should just post that if you need, if the kids are in school or they're home and your life is crazy. A lot of people live in apartments, and just, book my place, book my hammock for a half an hour. Like, what do we each have that we could share with someone? It seems simple.
That's a cool idea.
It's like, come and hang out in my backyard. I don't need it. And so many people have a lot of space, but my heart goes out to someone who's
Bring
living.
your own gin, Bill.
Exactly. Bring your own gin, your own pillow.
If I ever come back on this, if you do invite me ever again on this podcast, I'm going to be known for...
the gin guy.
The beer guy.
The beer guy.
The beer and gin guy.
The beer and gin guy, yeah. Oh, boy. That's...
So just sharing what we have.
Yeah, that's cool.
To try to ease things.
And I think there are those like micro things that we can all be doing.
It's so
right?
small, but it could really make a difference for someone. And I found it's not only elderly people through COVID, it's been a lot of young people too who are single, who had to be on lockdown. And I help a lot with elderly people too. But I think for a young, 27-year-old who's just locked in this apartment, his family's somewhere else, these people need to know that our community is there for you.
So maybe one of the things we can do, because our information is available on the web, that we could maybe even come out of today saying, hey, what little thing could we do? And moat the community to suggest for it. We'll talk about it. We'll put it on the website. What are things we can do? Little things, whether it's hammocks or what are our
just
little ideas we
share.
could do? And if it impacted even one person, that was part of the original inspiration behind Snapped anyway, was if I can get people to emote to do things, like if people are coming out or can get motivated to say, hey, use my hammock, or motivate people to do things. So, you can even see with the music series how we brought charities into it.
I love that.
And we're not raising
Charities
tons of money. Like maybe the most we raise is like $800 in a night.
But
I would say on
every
average it's like
helps.
$200. But that's
great.
$200 that wasn't there before.
Exactly.
We're raising the profile. And even when we pass around a hat and stuff, if people are putting it, like people are like, oh, I don't have any money. I'm like, a toonie's fine. Or a Louis, that's fine. Some people are dropping $50 and other people are dropping $1. But we all have what we have.
Exactly.
And we're all like brothers, if you will, or brothers and sisters. So, I mean, it's cool when you can do that. And I think, Bill, you sort of alluded to it too.
Oh, yeah.
So what you're up to. So maybe that's one of the things we could, get people to do and say, I've got some ideas. And there's been a lot of inspirational stories out there.
Oh yeah.
And
It's
bringing
brought
those
out the
things,
kindness in people.
bringing those things together. Yeah. All the kindness coming out and bringing all those things together. That kind of makes our community great. What about you, Mac? Like, what are you planning for the near future? Besides, like, upping your hours at work to 50-hour work weeks. Besides that.
First and foremost.
Yeah.
Well, I'm well past the 50-hour work week. I'm looking for 80. We're pumping up podcasts like crazy. It's consumed most of my days, which I'm loving. It's really nice, again, as I say, connecting with the community again, but seeing this new way to communicate with people. It's been great to kind of showcase it to people that aren't necessarily familiar with it. So
Yeah.
it's been good.
Speaking with you,
Podcast.
it's blowing up this podcast stuff for us.
That's great.
That's great to
It's a
hear.
Good concept.
Yeah.
See?
And Mac's really heading that. Like we wanted to have him on a guest today because, he's got lots of cool things to say, but it is, hey, Mac, it's like, it's kind of insane.
It was a pity.
Pardon?
That it was a pity invite. Let's be honest.
That's not how I heard it, Mac.
Nah, Mac. Everyone here loves you. Everyone in this room loves you. And how much are your beers at typically? Like, what would the average beer? Because I'm going to segue that into a joke.
Hey,
Like, if it's $7
we're
or
between 6 to 8 around
Yeah.
there. Depends on if you're going to go with something a bit lighter, like one of our lagers, or you want to go a bit heavier in the ABV or with the flavor profile. So it kind of it ranges. But we do a drink deal on Tuesdays for trivia. Thursdays when we have bingo, we do a drink deal if you play along. So coming up soon, we're gonna do. You have to dress up a certain way to come to bingo,
that's a good
and that's the
idea.
only way you can get the beer deal.
Okay, wait a sec. This
I like
sounds
it.
like that
Yeah.
was made for me.
Yes.
It was.
Yes,
It
hello,
actually was.
TikTok.
I know you have the cost. You have enough to spare for the whole staff.
TikTok
So,
is coming back, folks.
So yeah,
You
that's
have no idea. You've got an entire room with closets of just
so we usually too also have about like I'd say 8 to 10 different beers, whether it's just lagers, we got a stout, we got some IPAs, just something for everybody. We think that there's a beer for everybody out there. Even if you're not a beer drinker, we can find something that'll be to your liking. And then one other little thing, Paul, I wanted to touch on quickly is that we're starting a thing too. On Sundays, we're closed to the public. We're actually going to start offering it as mini rentals. So people who are looking between 25 to 50 people who aren't comfortable coming when we're open to the public, you can rent it in smaller time frames, so it's not as expensive, and you can come out and have your birthday, your baby shower, your engagement party, your anniversary, the retirement that you wanted to do, but you didn't want to rent us for the whole Saturday because it's a lot more money, because Saturday's a premium day. So Sunday we're gonna dedicate now to anybody who just that comfort level just wants it for themselves for a couple hours, just to have bit of the family. And then that's it, and you're gone.
So what do you think, Mac? Do you think we could comp bill an ad there for that to promote that? I think in Snap we can run ads for you. We'll do it for free because we're really big at supporting in this time.
We love you guys.
And I like the idea. I was asking a little bit facetious.
Beswick's yours, Paul.
Because I was going to say to Mack, hey Mack, Bill's gonna cut you a deal somewhere between $6 and $8 for a beer. You go in there, it'll be in that
I
range.
got you covered, Mac. I got you covered. We'll deliver it right to your bed. That's one of the other things we're doing too with your food tray.
Perfect.
Perfect location.
I could move if I tried.
That's funny. So I think what we're going to do is wrap up the show. So we're going to encourage our listeners to give us some of your ideas. Go to Market Brewing and experience all the great beers and things they have. And typically, Bill, don't you come out with I'm a lot on top of what you do, but you come up with a new beer every month or so?
During the pandemic, Josh and Lee in the back have been fantastic. It's almost been a beer a week. There's been the odd week where we've missed one or the other, but they've been basically doing a beer a week. We did a No Coast IPA, which was No Coast because it wasn't West Coast and it wasn't New England. So that was one of our latest releases. We've got a cream ale coming up. We've got another pale ale coming up, and then returning favorites are always coming back. So the guys in the back, guys and gals, are busy, but they're making really cool, unique stuff, and that's what I love about it. Just something different every week to look forward to.
Awesome. So check out your website and stay up to date.
Yeah, you
certainly come by the brewery and see what's going on.
Absolutely.
You guys are open every day but Sunday.
Yep.
But now you're going to be rocking on Sundays because Mack's going to help you out with an ad and get it into Snap.
Right on.
And if once you're kind of beat on that, not all the time, but you got to take one day off. Then you can go to Sundays. You can go to Tracy's backyard and hang out
There
in
you
the
go.
hammock.
You can chill in
All
the
right,
hammock.
there we
chill
go.
there.
I like that.
And
That's
Matt's
the
gonna
little
help
thing
all
I
of
need
us.
to
Just
take the
calm.
stress off.
That's where
Look at
Bill
trees.
will be found.
Just look at trees.
And
There's
Mack,
a nice
you're
segue.
gonna keep doing your thing with Snapped, and your podcasts are taking off. So congrats on all that. And that's another episode. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Paul. If I can just add, I hope that we all still keep thanking our frontline workers. I think we've gotten a little lackadaisical. I went and got a COVID test, and every person in that room, I said, "Thank you for looking after us. Thank you, thank you." I think I saw a lady in line. I paid something for her who was in uniform. We can't forget that these people
I
are
think
still
all the
risking their
people,
life
like
every
even
day.
Well
when
said.
when I'm at Sobeys and those kind of places, I always say like I really appreciate you being
they
here.
need to hear it. We can't get lackadaisical with them.
So everyone, let's not forget.
Yeah.
And,
Please
until
thank
next episode. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
It was
Okay.
a pleasure being here. Pleasure with you too, Matt,
Yeah.
and you, Bill.
You as well, Tracy and Mac. That was a blast.
See you guys.
Thank you.